Yes, that's right. I mean, we are testing your listening skill yesterday. Yes, we are. We know that there are many people here in the room. They are the experts on this EUDR, but we still have many, like new people in the room. They are from the government, from the smallholder farmers. So, yes, that's right. The answer is that EUDR requires the geolocation data. Is the correct answer. Yes, we have more than 40% people, yes, in the room. And the next question, please.
Just to let you know, so all the people the 34% of you that thought the second one was correct, the trick there was that the timing was wrong. It's 2020. So just for you to remember in future, it's 2020 that the deforested or degraded land needs to be confirmed by.
And the next question, please. So the next question, when a community tells a company that no during the consultation process, what can the company do? Yeah. Can you give the word? One word? Negotiation. Take into account the rights and benefit of the smallholder farmer. Yes, I think respect. I heard from yesterday from our panelists and also the discussion with our partner that first we need to respect people. When the community they feel respected, they can continue the talk, the discussion and dialogue with you. Is this the first achievement? Then they can think about whether they will work with you and approve your project or not. So respect is most important. Yeah. EPIC, yes, of course, EPIC principles is the way we strengthen the accountability and responsibility of the investor and secure the rights and voice of the smallholder farmers. Yes. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah. Over to Kate. Kate will give us some reflection from yesterday, from her perspective.
Thank you. We wanted to start by acknowledging that we've been sharing a lot of success stories, and that is the reason we're here. We're not here to name and shame. Okay, we really wanted to acknowledge that there are bad actors. There are people who are not in this room. They're very difficult to engage with, and they are doing harm. But really what we were here to do was to present success stories and to try and work out how can we scale these, how can we extend those lessons. And to do this, we had a really excellent panel in the morning, a panel in the afternoon. Cecile Leroy from the EU delegation to Laos was among the speakers introducing us to EUDR. So we were hoping you were listening very closely. It was really staggering to hear that over the past 30 years, there's been 420 million hectares of forest loss, the size of Asia. It's astonishing. But we tested you today about, what can we do about this? And we've heard about EUDR and that we really need geolocation. But it is fundamental and it is missing. That element of the traceability and due diligence is missing in many of the countries we're working. And so we really need to attempt to work out ways to do this better and to be able to scale that. We heard from Tommy about experiences in Indonesia. They're getting on board. They're really pushing the envelope there. And as well as from Phuc in Vietnam about how they're also moving the enabling environment for EUDR. We also heard that to do this, we can do it by improving documentation of the value chain and traceability being crucial, but there was advocacy for the acceleration of land reform and supporting this idea of digitalisation in Laos in particular. The other theme was engaging stakeholders, and throughout the sessions we heard about this. Phuc's experience from Vietnam was quite new, quite a different experience. He was sharing the value of developing an MOU with trade associations. and such as timber, rubber, coffee, and the research that they're doing with the trade associations, with private sector, and with government as well, as a really strong basis for the policy making and decision makers to be listening. But absolutely, large institutions are not the only ones in this consultation. They were including CSOs in their technical working groups, and we heard directly why farmer representation is essential in the investment equation. Thuy, do you want to elaborate more on this?
Yes, we talk a lot about the UDR and also about the market standard, but now we also need to focusing on empowering the smaller farmer and their cooperatives, because they play very key roles in sustainable production, but they also need to link with the markets, link with the enterprise. So there's a lot of discussion from our session yesterday about different kinds of model, cooperative development model in our Mekong region, and especially in China. Some brings the good results, some still have many things to improve. But at the end, we emphasize that the roles of the government and also the private sector in scaling up these models. For the private sector in China, they have they already indicate the good example that capable enterprise, the private sector, they can bring the capital, finance, technologies, and also capacity management to the cooperative. But they also need to practice responsibility to ensure that their investment is sustainable. For the government to support this, the government play as a facilitator between the smaller farmer and also the enterprise. So they need to create an enabling environment to support the scaling up these models by, providing the good, the policy and legal, the strong policy and legal framework to support the collaboration between enterprise and also the smaller farmer. And also they need to offering the incentive, like as example in Vietnam and China, that Laos and other countries can learn from Vietnam. Yes. On the first day, we talked a lot about the tenure and the climate change as a solution. And yesterday, we talked about agroecologies as a solution for climate change. For agroecologies, as Esther from AFA mentioned that it can be the solution to build a resilient and sustainable transform agriculture system. And the important role is that smaller farmers, they can scale up expanding the agroecologies. To promote agroecologies and also cooperative, it will require that the land tenure of the smaller farmers are secure and protected by all the stakeholders, because they are engaging in the value chains and also the agriculture production. So to build the food sovereignty, it also emphasized that the important role of cooperative and also producers in this process. So when smallholder they act collectively, they can strengthen their bargaining skill, bargaining power with the buyers and also the investors, so they can gain access to finance and have a louder voice in the policy process. So Kate, you can talking about this financing flows.
Yeah, but I'm gonna switch from access to finance for smallholders and think about financing in a more global sense. I was enlightened yesterday having a conversation with Naomi, who's very deep forest trade experience, and she quoted a recent study that found 150 financial institutions provide $8.9 trillion to the deforestation economy. The deforestation economy, that's not the economy we want to be financing, right? These sorts of figures, the finance sector has a vital role to play in ending global deforestation, but only a small minority of the financial institutions take substantive action on forest loss. New Forest, who we heard from, who is the investor of MTP, is an example of money behind companies that can be a force for good. Pharn described a number of critical operations and activities of MTP, and often these revolved around community and employee consultations. From the speakers yesterday, do you want to talk a little bit more about this topic?
Yes, we talk about this a lot during the like MRLG phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and we know that the partnership among the smallholder farmer cooperative and also enterprise just can only sustain if adequate consultation and dialogue are in place to enable to ensure that the engagement process is effective. EPIC must be like conducted appropriately, and when EPIC is like carried out appropriately, it can like strengthen the credibility, accountability, and responsibility of the enterprise. But moreover, it also empowers smallholder farmer because they can have a real voice in the decision-making process. Yes.
So we really valued the panel sessions. The organisers have gone to a lot of effort to organise the speakers, and the speakers prepared themselves very well. But I did want to make one special attention to the research students that presented. I think the afternoon session was just fantastic, and they really rose to the challenge. Super engaging presentations, and there was a lot of intense conversation that was sparked, I heard, from various rooms. Maybe let me touch upon the one that I was in. Petsapon study on ecosystem services brought cause for concern. We heard communities that were surveyed in her research saw land titling projects as a threat. Okay, there were many other threats, but this was one of the key ones. And she specifically urges us, how can we recognise non-market values like culture, biodiversity, and how do we integrate community knowledge in the registration process? And that was all what we've been discussing as well, from the customary tenure topics, from deep conversations that I've been hearing from Myanmar colleagues when they were asked, what is customary tenure? So thank you very much. We covered a lot of ground yesterday across all of the sessions, from EUDR, Vietnam's timber trade reforms with the trade associations, promoting the importance of agroecology that bridges science and tradition, and stories demonstrating pathways for change. Many of these were underpinned by the need to hold space for genuine dialogue, genuine consultation, and that's what we really want to urge you to think about.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you all our speakers today. Please welcome us. Welcome. Now we would like to introduce Sotheara Pharn. He's going to joining us online. Yes, you have the. Yes. So Sotheara Pharn, he's indigenous leader with your heritage from Krung and Tumpan tribes in Cambodia. He currently serves as the president with the Highlanders Association. With the over 10-year experience, he has spent his career to advocating for the rights of the indigenous people, specifically on the land tenure and resources management. Yeah. Okay. Please welcome Sotheara. Over to you, Sotheara.
Thank you. I'm sorry that I cannot join with you all in person, but I hope you can hear me well, because I'm also from home, actually. I've been traveling for the holiday of the Pyeongchang Festival. Yeah, I would like to show my respect to her and His Excellency, ladies and gentlemen in the room and also online. My name is Sotheara, and I belong to Krung and Tampuan Indigenous group from Rattanakhari province in Cambodia, where it is the northeastern part of Cambodia. There are 7 language groups. So I was selected as the president of the Highlander Association based in Rattanakhari province. So the elder who are selecting me to be the representative of the voices of indigenous people in Rattanakhari province. Yeah, as indigenous people, I've been living in the jungle, in the forest, of course. Then we realized that our life is rooted to the forest, to the natural resources, and we are considered as the one who safeguarding the forest and natural resources. And we perceive that land and forest, those are the markets, the free resources where we can access for a livelihood, for our life that we rely on. But today, as some of you may know, that indigenous people, not just in Cambodia, but all over the world and in the region, also facing the same problem. But specifically in my province, in the indigenous community, we have been working with, they are facing in terms of lacking of recognition on the right of indigenous people, especially in terms of accessing the forest and land as the traditional land use, traditional practices like it was before. Because there are a private company coming to the community, and also at the same time the conservation has been also expanding the protected area. So indigenous people specifically, we are working, they are facing those kind of constraints, the lack of access to those resources. So in this, our indigenous people, we expect to have very well coordination, or what is this, like to have the harmonization for indigenous people to access those resources. So today it's very right time, and it's very good time that indigenous people can raise out the voices. So all of you may have the discussion and focusing on this topic related to forest and indigenous people. So I would like to say thank you on behalf of the indigenous people from Ratnagiri province. And as the president of the Highlander Association, I'm very pleased and very glad to be in this room and presenting our real issue, our real concern, and hope this one is not for something to oppose, but it's to something that we can discuss and build more collaboration and build more relationship to address the needs of the local people and especially indigenous people. So that's all from me, and then I hope that you can understand my English, and I am the indigenous person, so English is the fourth language for me. So I belong to two tribes, and then Khmer is the second one, the third one. So English could consider as the fourth one. So thank you very much. That's all from me. Thank you.
អរគុណ Sotheara នេះបងសូលីនមើលបងអត់ឃើញទេ
ជម្រាបសួរបងបាទ
Thank you for your inspiration. It grounds us as we go to day 3, the final day of this forum. Today we have half a day, and this year, the fourth forum, we will focus on, as we said from the beginning, we're focusing on 3 interlinked issues. Day 1, we discussed about how to better secure land rights as a climate solutions. And then we move on to day 2, yesterday, where we dive into how to secure a more just transition in the agrarian and food systems. And now day 3, and this is what I said earlier on, that I'm excited and looking forward to this. Day 3 will now bring all these 2 complex themes from the past 2 days into this space today together, and then we will cross-fertilize them and learn from a range of cross-cutting policy processes in order to explore how we